Welcome back, race fans, to another episode of NITRO Talk here on Everything Nitro. I am your host, Andrew Morales, and today we have a very special guest, driver of the Rocket Phones, Bandero Tequila, Toyota Supra Nitro Funny Car, Alexis DeJoria. How you doing, Alexis?
I'm really good. Thank you. Thanks for having me on today.
We're really excited to talk with you. I mean, there's no denying you've been a fan favorite from the moment you stepped on the scene back in 2011, driving for Connie Kalitta. But you also ran some top alcohol funny cars, had some success. How much did that category help you grow as a driver?
That was a close one. I think the buildup, going through a class like top alcohol funny car, really prepared me for nitro. There's nothing like driving a short wheelbase front motor in front of you and all that. There's really nothing better that can prepare you for a nitro funny car. And even then, it's still a big step. But that's really like what taught me, to better handle something in that range. And then the view too, and not being claustrophobic. Thank God I wasn't claustrophobic because I loved those cars from the outside so much. And the big thing for me is when I got in the class at Frank Holly's is once they put the body down, how's that going to feel? What's that going to feel like? You're strapped up, 7-point harness. You got all this gear on, the helmet, everything. I mean, then how are you going to feel about it? And I still did. Thank you. And here we are.
And you had that scary incident in a top alcohol funny car in Englishtown.
Yeah.
A wild ride that was. You go into the sand trap, no parachutes, and you go through that accident. Luckily, you came out unharmed, uninjured, but that had to have been a scary ride.
It definitely was. I mean, you can't really prepare for things like that. You just kind of go through the motions. What if this happens?
Right.
You get timed, you get belted in and everything in the car, back in at the shop, and they say, fire. Okay, what do you do? What are you going to do first to get out? How quickly can you get out of this car? Because you only have a certain amount of time before your gear stops working. All those things, right? And I asked Bob Newberry, I was working with him at the time, and, just he'd been, obviously, he's a legend in the sport. What if this happens? What do I do? What about this and that? So, I mean, as soon as my parachutes blossomed, they ripped off the car. And then they were at the time attached to the rear end, and it opened up the rear end like a can opener and sprayed rear end lube all over my brakes. So I had no way to stop the car. But for that split second that my parachutes blossomed, it slowed me down 100 miles an hour. Thank God.
Wow.
The thing with the funny cars is they don't have the downforce that the nitro cars do with the spill plates. They just don't. So they cut through the air pretty quick. So I was still going about $130. And I was like, okay, trying to stop. It's not working. I'm like, all right, here we go. I'm going off to the end. Bob's voice in the back of my head was like, okay, just line yourself up in the middle. Try to aim for the middle of the sand. I'm like, all right, and like, obviously this is happening very, very, very quickly, but in a driver's mind, everything kind of slows down. I think we do really well in something like that. So my mind slowed down to the point where I saw out of the corner of my eye one of the track officials going like this, like, don't turn. Myself, I actually like giggled for a second going like,
really?
First I'm going down to the end. Like, you think I'm just going to hang a left at 130 in one of these cars? No. So yeah, went over the sand all the way through three I think it was two nets. Didn't even touch the sand. I was flying, and then through four barrels of those yellow like sand filled barrels, and then stopped. But what really saved me is the angle that I went in. The car from the motor plate forward, the chassis just curled right up over the motor. Thank God. I was pissed though when I got out of the car. Right. I was mad because I wanted to know what the F happened.
Yeah.
won that round, of course, and it was the fastest, quickest run I'd ever made at that point. And
Wow.
unlike Nitro, we don't have backup cars. So that was it for me. And then when the pain started to set in of just hitting, the barrels at how, I don't know how many G's it was. It was like over 20 G's, 40, I don't know. Your whole body, your adrenaline's rushing, you don't feel it, but then like an hour kicks in and then I felt like I was like 90 years old, like my whole body hurt. It was nuts. But that was also one of the things. Luckily I made it out. I was very lucky. I made it out unscathed, but that was also one of the things I think that prepares you as a driver as to what can happen, in those situations and how you react, honestly. The driver right after that, like that next year, we went back to race at Englishtown. The next, like I was 2 pairs back, first time back at Englishtown, first year back, new car. And unfortunately we lost another alcohol funny car driver.
Wow.
Like right there. So
yeah.
I was very, very lucky to come out of it the way I was. But fast forwarding to Nitro, been in a couple, good ones.
Yes.
Like that, where I go all the way through. But walls, burns, all that kind of explosions. Yeah.
And you just never know when they're going to happen, and they happen.
You don't. And even when they're going to happen, like if I see sparks, it's already too late.
So you talk about Nitro. Your highly anticipated Nitro Funny Car debut came at the 2011 Texas Fall Nationals in Dallas, driving for Kalitta Motorsports. First of all, how did that opportunity come about? And what was it like to have Connie Kalitta in your corner from the beginning?
That actually, I think first came together was with Jim Oberhofer and Nikki Bonifane. When I did have my crash in Englishtown, they came over to the pit to like make sure I was okay. Obviously, after losing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, after losing. Yeah, and it makes me really sad, but after losing him, they just wanted to make sure that the changes that NHRA made to that track, worked, and obviously they did, and I was really lucky. But I had also had a relationship with a work relationship with a Bonifane friction company. We got our clutch products from them, obviously. And so we already had that with them. And I had been kind of shopping around, looking at different teams, seeing, who I kind of gelled with. And honestly, Connie Kalitta, everybody that worked there, it was like a family. And I felt really comfortable with them. And I mean, my God, driving for Connie Kalitta, the bounty hunter, that was a dream true, a legend. He's still a badass. I mean, my God, I still consider them to be, my team in a way. If I go out or when I go out, in the rounds, I'm definitely pulling for the Kalitta cars. So yeah, that was I feel very, very honored to be able to have raced with Connie Kalitta.
You had many semifinals and finals appearances in those first few years driving a Nitro Funny Car, and finally it happened. You pick up that first funny car win in Arizona, defeating Robert Height with Tommy DeLago as your tuner. How special of a day was that?
That was huge. And I did not have a great reaction time. I remember it was like a 0.102 or something. And thank God Tommy gave me the hot rod under my feet. So that was a great race. Unbelievable. It's that first one. There's just nothing like that first win. You work really hard at it. And that whole year ended up being, just insane. Right. We were back to back. Once you get that win, I think it's like, okay, now we've done it. We could do this. We could do this more. And we won more races. We won the Indy, the 60th anniversary of the U.S. Nationals. So that was a huge year for us. Huge.
So far in your career, you've written your name in the history books. You're the first female to make a 3-second pass in a Nitro Funny Car, first female to compete in 100 national events in Funny Car, and like you just mentioned, you're a U.S. Nationals champ. How awesome is it to be in a male dominant sport and have so much success?
I think I definitely, for females, you know, in motorsports, and NHRA has been very successful with, you know, bringing in women, and we have more females in NHRA than any other form of motorsports, which is huge. But honestly, I'm just stoked to be able to have success in such a hard, competitive class, like a Nitro Funny Car. It's such a competitive class. Yes, I am the only female, but again, like, we could go down this road of like, the car does not know you're a female. Yes, I have to do extra, you know, extra workouts, and you know, build up my upper body strength. But honestly, just being able to be successful in this class, in this sport, is so huge to me. I wish there was more females. I wish
Right.
Courtney came back. I wish Ashley came back. Like, that would be awesome. To me, it doesn't bother me, because it's kind of like what I've always done. Even in Alcohol Funny Car, there was only one other female at one point that was racing Alcohol Funny Car, and we had the first in history, like, female against female Alcohol Funny Car race. And I'm happy to say that I won that. Yes. Because who wants to lose to the
Yeah.
one other female in the class? I know guys don't want to lose to me, because I am the female in the class, which I know for them it's kind of funny. But I would hope by now they just would see me as an equal, and not that girl.
Of course, you've had your say in who won the championship this past season, so
Yes.
you're a force to be reckoned with.
Yes, that was huge. I mean, just so close. We were so close. And it shows how much of a gentleman Hagen is. You know, he came over, and he was bummed, man. He just thought he lost the championship, but shook my hand and said, you know, great race, and, you know, on to the next. Ron Caps is a little bit different. I had one of his guys handed me one of his championship hats at the top end, and he was like, from Ron Caps and our crew to you. Thank you very much. So
Yeah,
I
that
haven't
puts you
stopped
right in the
hearing
middle.
it from Ron and the crew. Thank you so much for winning us a championship. I was like, you're welcome. I love Ron. Yeah, they're great. Great for the sport, for sure. And our new GR Supras are so badass. I cannot wait to debut them. We're going to be hitting the track in 2 weeks in Phoenix
Right.
for pro testing. So it'll be the first time I get to try out the new Supra. So excited about it.
We saw that awesome video Toyota put out with JR Todd, you know, testing that body. We know
Yeah.
you've known about this from the very beginning, and we know you've been a part of that. Luckily, Toyota introduced Supra back into the market, because that was a car that hadn't been around in 20 years. So for them to bring it back, we get to see it come to life in motorsports and here in drag racing. And that GR Supra, beautiful. I can't wait to see it with the black and white Liberty on it,
Yeah.
Bandero, Tequila, rocket phones. That is going to be awesome. But after sitting out 2 seasons, you make your return in competition in 2020 with Dale Worsham and Nicky Bonafanti. How did that feel to be back in the sport and kind of get back in that routine of getting things ready for the season, you know, like you are this offseason?
I missed it so much. I was like a little kid at Christmas. My biggest thing was like, do I remember how to pack my parachutes the right way? Do I remember how to do the warm up perfectly? Like, those things were more of an issue for me than making an actual run, because I know
Wow,
what
really?
the run's like for me. But I was like, I just want to make sure that I warm the car up properly. I know that sounds crazy. I was really thrilled to be able to start this team with Del Worsham. It's DC Motorsports, which stands for DeJoria Charles Motorsports. Charles is Dell's middle name. He just thought it sounded great. It sounded like a comic book or something. He's
That's
like,
so cool. Yeah,
let's do DC Motorsports. I'm like, okay.
I don't think myself and a lot of fans, I don't think we really knew the meaning of DC Motorsports until that. So that's pretty cool. That's some cool insight.
I know, it's pretty funny. But yeah, so it's Dell and myself, we're co-owners. During, the last 2 years, the 2 years that I took a hiatus, I knew I was going to come back at some point. I needed time with my family. My daughter had just turned 16. It was kind of a pivotal moment in her life. And, I just kind of needed to take a step back and reassess. And, a lot of things happened in those 2 years, which I don't really want to talk about, but now I'm stronger than ever. I was able to, have a conversation with Nikki Bonifani and Del Worsham over those 2 years and basically plan out what we were going to do as far as starting a team. Because we all, like the three of us, wanted to work together. I've been able to work with them in the past. Yeah. Del was my first crew chief. He was my mentor. I got licensed in his family's car, the Worsham's car. Nikki Bonifani, was the crew chief on the DHL car. And then for a hot minute, he was a crew chief on my car on my last year. So I've always had a really good rapport with both of them. But I to be able to start it with basically handpick our people was just amazing. And the sport has been really good to me. Toyota has been really good to me. And this is something that Del and I have been actually wanting to finish since we started. Him as a crew chief and me as the driver. And yeah, so dream come true, and we made it happen. And 2020 of all years, right? Yeah. We come out right after the pandemic, and considering brand new team, so to speak, pandemic, not racing all the races. I think we did a damn good job.
Right.
Last year, even better. This year, watch out.
You come out of the gate in Pomona in 2020 and you go to the semifinals. That's no easy task. I mean, this is professional drag racing at the highest level. So there's no sugarcoating that. And yeah, this past season, you had a very fast race car all season long. Two number one qualifiers, 3 final round appearances, and a win in Bristol. That first win back, that had to have felt good to get that monkey off your back. Although you would have probably liked for it to be a little sooner. But hey, like you mentioned, we didn't get a full 2020 season. We got about half of a 2020 season. And that car was running good at the end of 21. And you carried that, at the end of 2020, and you carried that into last season. So that car has been tremendous.
We really didn't change much from 20 to 21. The car was running so well. So we just kind of wanted to, continue with that. And I think the same thing about, this last year and starting off 2022. The real big difference is going to be that GR Supra body. It's like compared to the other bodies in the wind tunnel, it's like outdone them completely. It's really, really nice. I can't wait to talk to JR and see what he says about it. I know the vision is incredibly well. There's nothing, blocking the windshield at all. It's incredible. I got to sit in one, so that was good. But yeah, I've been asking Toyota to bring out a Supra. I'm like, gosh, come on, you guys, that car. I mean, I'm dating myself, but back when those cars were out, they were so fast. And
absolutely.
Yeah, they were so badass on the road. And I'm like, man, come on, you guys got to bring back the Supra. It's the coolest car ever. So they finally did it and made us ones for NHRA, and it's going to be a fun year. Yeah, we had a lot of top 5, top 3 qualifiers, more than not. It was almost ridiculous how many number 2 qualifiers we had. Not ones, but always 2. And even when we were 1 for a hot second, I just look back and I'm like, just wait. I'm sure we're gonna get 9. Oh, there it is. Okay,
Yeah.
we're done. We're number 2, to the point where it was like I'm not being I don't want to sound ungrateful, but it was almost ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then we finally got that number 1 in Bristol, and we won the race, which was just mind-blowing, because I've never in my history in my career, I've never had a number 1 qualifier and won the race. It's never happened to me. Usually it's like a bad omen. I remember Tommy D, racing with Tommy D. He hated those green hats. He hated them. He wanted to burn them. He's like, no. He's like, I rather qualify number 2. But in Bristol, that really solidified, I think, everything that we had been working so hard on and came so close so many times.
Exactly.
We didn't get any gimmies. I mean, we worked hard for every single round we won. And between my guys and myself, like, there'd be times where I'd be off my game, wouldn't have the greatest reaction times, or the car wouldn't be reacting right. We had some issues with the body sitting too low in Atlanta. I mean, that was like a ridiculous race. And, I just could shit can that one completely. Another race, the steering was off and I couldn't keep it. It just, we've battled some things this year. But man, have we been through it. And I think now is our time. I think we earned it. We've earned these stripes. This year is going to be the big game changer. It really is. We're a top 5 car now. I mean, we finished 6th in points, but we're where we wanted to be. We're definitely a top five car.
My final question before I let you go, one of my favorite things to ask drivers, and I know Del Worsham, obviously, Jeff Aren, have helped you so much in your career, especially at the early parts.
Too. He was my my teammate, and also I worked with him with the warm up. He helped me with the warm up in Del's car when I was first. I think he wrote out like this list of things to do. I don't know if I still have it. I was looking for it the other day because I was like, it was like this long list of things that was just like, oh man. It seems so complicated, but it's so important, especially with all your crew like hunched over the car. You make one bad mistake and you're taking out everybody, like your whole team. Man. Yeah. So
then you have the pressure of all the fans watching.
Yeah, I don't think people understand how important a warm-up is, how crucial it is.
Was there anybody else that helped you in the driving side of it that would kind of get in your ear and give you some advice? Or were those 2 really it? Were they the ones that really helped you catapult you to where you are today in the driving side?
Yeah, I would say Del Worsham, no question about it. Del Worsham and Jeff Arend in Nitro Funny Car. Yes, definitely. Alcohol Funny Car, Randy Anderson, Bob Newberry. Yeah, I mean, I've had some really good teachers. I've been blessed. I've been able to work with some amazing people in this sport.
That's so awesome. And once again, Alexis, thank you so much for coming on today. And we're looking forward to seeing you back on track here in 2022 in style, in the Supra, and hoisting some more Wallies for sure.
Yes,
so
please.
We'll be pulling for you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, guys.